Alright, everybody, thanks for watching. It's top of the hour for hour 2. Go ahead, Tony. What's going on?
Alrighty, so our players have figured there was some kind of group of kobolds that came in and perhaps have Gwendolyn with them. So, the question is what do our players now, if they have that information, what do they choose to do?
Well, the houses nearby are empty, or our people aren't in there, apparently.
There's gotta be some like local gathering area that we can go ask around, see if anybody's seen any kobolds. Surely they would have seen or possibly heard something.
Good thinking. It's possible that there may be something at Midtown Fothran where the...
Sorry, you cut out for me a little bit there. But
yeah, you cut out.
On me too. I was just like, am I the only
I did?
one? Yes.
Oh dear. I said good thinking. There is an area that you guys know of, Midtown part of Fothran, where there is a farmer's market. Perhaps maybe somebody there has some information that you might be able to glean off of them.
Also, just before I forget, I know that there's no one in the next two houses, but do we know who lives there, just in case we come across them?
You do not.
Okay, just checking.
Okay.
Well, I just kind of, as I already put in the chat, just kind of close the window back, fold the blankets and sheets back up, put them on the bed. Don't want to make it look like we caused too much of a mess.
Other than me bashing the door in.
I said too much. But,
All right.
I guess head to the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Should we let our other workers know before we go?
If you'd like, that is an option.
Yeah, that's probably a wise idea.
We should probably just tell them we're going to be more than an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So
we have a hunt. Well, we're trying to find something. We have a hunch. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
That way
So
we
you
actually seem
guys-
productive.
So do you choose to go back to the Meteran Theater?
yes, briefly.
Okay,
Yep.
wonderful. I'll take you guys there.
Yeah.
So when you get in, Hana stands up, kind of with a worried look on her face, like, well, what'd you guys find? find her?
Well, we didn't find her, unfortunately. But we did find something.
Cobalt tracks, and quite a few of them in her house.
Zane kind of goes, kobolds? In this part of Fothran? That doesn't seem right.
We also found a manuscript that she'd been writing. But don't worry, it's safe. We might have a future hit.
Oh, yeah, I know about that thing. It's honestly a lot worse than she thinks it is. Hana
It
kind of
couldn't be any worse than what we're doing right now.
Hana kind of nods and says, that is the truth. So do you have any idea of where she might be?
Well,
Nah,
she's definitely not around here. I think she's been gone for quite a while.
we were thinking of heading to the farmer's market just to ask around, see if anybody saw anything. Because surely, like 4 kobolds would stick out.
Sumiyon kind of is eating at the moment, and he kind of looks up through kind of a partially full mouth, and you can vaguely understand. It's possible one of them saw anything, if it happened during the daylight.
Well, if it happened during the night, maybe there's a night owl that, maybe they saw or heard something. Surely
And-
she wouldn't go quietly if she wasn't knocked unconscious.
True, and then Zane says, it's also possible that somebody at the farmer's market might have lived next door to her, maybe saw something.
Maybe. So we're just gonna go there, check it out, see if we can get anything.
So you're going to be longer than an hour, aren't you?
Yeah, unfortunately. You don't happen to know any of the people in that area of the neighborhood, do you?
No, I personally don't, but I know you're going to be longer than an hour. Just bring her back safe. We'll deal with Mr. Stick Up His Ass, McCutcheon.
Alright, thanks.
Thanks.
I just toss them a single gold coin from my pouch.
Who do you toss to?
Whoever was just speaking, I forgot who you said it was.
That would be Hana.
Alright. I'd give the gold, just kind of flick the gold coin to Hana. Thanks. We'll try to do our
Alright.
best.
Okay, so do you guys at this point choose? Okay.
You're cutting out again.
Am
Yeah.
I? Damn it.
Can you
Alright,
like
hang
lower
on,
the
let me-
threshold?
No, I didn't lower the threshold.
No, I was
My mic
asking
sometimes
if
has
you
weird
could.
issues.
Okay.
Wait, if I could?
Well, you know, because I don't know if it's just because you're quiet and the threshold's kind of killing it in between your
I
lines,
have it
but-
as auto detect, so I don't know if that's maybe an issue with it. But my mic's also been freaking out recently a little bit.
Alright, well, you know your mic better than I do, so.
Okay. So you guys decide to go to the market then.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys head over to Midtown Fothran, and there is a bustling farmers market going on. You can see all kinds of people with all kinds of stuff that they're selling. So what do you guys decide to do?
Let's see. I think I'm going to talk to the gentleman on the left here.
I'm going to examine the area on the right. It looks like they've got a lot of assorted things. It's hard to tell, but it piques my interest. The round circle, the red circle.
Is there
Oh,
anybody
this one
that's
here?
known to be
Yes.
a sort of eyes and ears of the streets kind of person that we can
Good
ask?
question. Give me a streetwise check for that.
Of course, I am trained in that. Hey!
Wow!
So, is there?
So as far as an ears and eyes around the area, this gentleman here seems to potentially be the best bet. Seems like he's been around for a while. Maybe has seen some
Alright.
stuff.
Well, I'll go over there then and ask and see if he saw anything koboldy or if he had seen our beloved actress lately.
Okay. And then
I'd like-
Pandora, what are you doing?
I'd like to go over to this guy who appears to be only selling rope.
Okay.
You can't go wrong with a good rope.
Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go clockwise around the map and kind of bounce back and forth between your four conversations, more or less. So you guys kind of have the idea of what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna start with Leifarl, and he's over at the magic trinkets area, basically. And the woman greets you warmly and asks, is there anything I can do to help you out, sir?
I'm not. Actually, I do have a question for you. Have you seen? Sorry. Before. I asked. Have you seen any kobolds in the area?
Kobolds. Normally we don't get their type of... They usually stick around to the swamp. It'd be unusual to see them around here.
Sorry, you're cutting out a bit. I didn't catch some of that.
Damn it! Okay, hold on a second. I'm gonna try something with my mic real fast.
Alright.
Farmers market music.
Forgot what the name of that song was. Ugh.
Just have the average.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we don't know if it'll continue to be
Well,
heard.
there's nothing much I can do about that. I don't have a backup mic. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
She says kobolds normally don't frequent areas around here. It'd be a bit unusual to see them anywhere other than the swamp.
I then ask if any of her, since she's selling magic trinkets, if any of them are related to kobolds. Just curious. I've never seen stuff like this before.
She says nothing that she knows about. You can maybe arcane a check and perhaps see if there's something kobold related.
Okay, I guess I can try.
Okay. Yeah, you can't really tell anything either in this instance.
Well, I let her know I'm going to look around. A lot of this stuff, I'm just going to see what grabs my attention. So I'm basically going to be circling the store.
Okay. We'll go ahead and go over to Endlt. Endlt, you approach this man, and he kind of says, "Hey, anything I can help you with?"
First, I just kind of want to glance around at what he's got. It looks like it's maps.
Yes, he appears to be a local cartographer.
Can I see anything that looks like there would be a swamp on it nearby on the maps?
Well, it's a little bit tough to tell because you don't necessarily see any local maps that are available out, like, for perusal.
Okay.
That doesn't mean he doesn't have one.
Well, I'm going to ask generally the same question. Has he heard anything unusual recently or heard of any kobolds nearby?
He says kobolds. Now, that is a new one. I haven't heard of any making their way into the city. But I would imagine if there were any near here, we would A, probably know about them, and B, they would probably be in the Bogma swamps, which are just outside of the Hurris roads.
Okay. Does he have a map of the area that I could purchase?
He nods and he says, "Yeah, I can sell you a map. It costs 5 gold."
Let's see. I'm not even sure how much I have.
If I'm not mistaken, at the moment you're broke.
Oh God. Okay. Let's see. What do you guys think? Perhaps he can point us in the direction of the swamps at least.
Why don't you actually? So you ask him to do that. Can you give me a diplomacy check, actually?
Here we go.
He kind of looks at you and he says, "Wait a minute. I think I recognize your face from somewhere. Are you?"
Why, yes, I am.
And he says, "Wait a minute. You're Bartholomew Percival Spencer the Fourth?"
No, I am not.
Oh. He looks a little crestfallen. He says, "Well, do you think there's any way you
when
can..."
my name is mentioned.
He kind of looks around and then he kind of leans his head low and he says, "Well, do you work with him? Do you know him?"
Why, he's right over there. Would you care for an autograph?
And his eyes just kind of light up. He's like, "Oh, that'd be amazing! I've got just the thing, too. I have blueprints from the Meteran Theater back when they were constructing it 10 years ago. Oh, it'd be amazing to have his signature on that."
I think I'm going to have to call him over.
Okay.
All right. Well, if you do, then I'll walk over there casually. It's like,
Okay.
hey, you called.
You can kind of see the cartographer kind of like just fangirling out a little bit. He's like, "Oh my gosh, you're Bartholomew Percival Spencer the Fourth. I'm a huge fan of your work."
Can I whisper?
I like just exaggeratedly lean on his wares, just like, why yes, I am.
I want to whisper into Bart's ear. Get it. Did you catch that?
All I heard was good.
Oh, I said I wanted to whisper in his ear off to the side, "Get us a map."
So he kind of enthusiastically, you see him like kind of ruffling and rummaging through his papers, and he pulls out actually a rather old-looking parchment compared to the rest of them. And he kind of lays it on the table, and it's actually blueprints of the theater that you guys have been performing in for quite some time now, the Meteran Theater. And he says, "I think it would be absolutely amazing if I could get an autograph from one of the performers from there, and I'd be honored if you would sign it for me, sir."
Well, I'd really like to. Our director's kind of, stick in the mud type. He likes to charge for these autographs, but I'll tell you what, I'll do it. But do you happen to have like a map in sort of local general area?
Absolutely, and he enthusiastically rummages through the papers again, and he pulls out a rather clean-looking map of the surrounding area of Fothred, as well as the city.
Well, in that case, if he has something for which I can sign with, then I would just give it an overly exaggerated signature on the blueprints in exchange for the map.
You see him rummage about, and he manages to find a quill and an ink bottle from, like, right over here.
Right. In that case, I'll sign it. Just huge, very just curvy letters. The entire Bartholomew, Percival, Spencer, with a double underlined fourth.
So this page is about a good 12 by 18. So how much of this picture does the signature take up?
Good lower left-hand corner of it.
Okay. He is enthused beyond his wildest dreams, and you can kind of hear him sigh, "Oh my gosh, I can die a happy man now."
Always pleasure to meet a fan.
He kind of you can see he's just looking at it, and you can just see just this rising excitement in his face. He's almost forgetting how to breathe, and he just falls over on his back.
I just kind of look over. It's like, hey, you gonna be okay?
The gentleman from over here kind of intones, kind of in a gravelly voice, "Ugh, he does that all the time. Don't think you're so special because he passed out for you, kid."
Can I see on those blueprints as he's signing all this if there's anything that looks unusual about the theater?
No, not at all. I mean, you can see the blueprints. Basically, what you can tell is that it was it's a 2-story building, and the second story is generally used for storage of props, for construction, and stuff like that. And you can tell the ground plan, they had to make some changes to it after it was designed, or at least after it was renovated, because the area between the stage and the crowd was originally much bigger and was intended to hold what appeared to be a full-sized area that could probably encompass 2 or 3 regular bands worth of people. But the area you have in front of the stage now can maybe hold a band plus a member or 2 additional. So
Wow.
That's what you can tell.
I hand the map to Endlt. It's like, here you go. Now if you'll excuse me. And I just walk back over, just kind of look at these wares, and begin to strike up a conversation with the nice gentleman behind the counter, if then that's alright.
Mm-hmm. He kind of nods his head and he says, "Trust me, you making him pass out, nothing special. Kid gets
Yeah.
overly excited, hasn't been in business all that long, so any business he gets is graciously appreciated." Now,
Well,
me,
when you're
I'm
in
not
my
such a hard sell.
business, fans, no matter how few, they're very important to my livelihood. So it's just nice to get that extra personal touch. That's how I make my living, and this is how you make yours.
The man kind of nods his head and he says, "For me, what marks the importance of my trade is if my weapons help save a life. So how can I help you? Because you don't
Well-
look like the fighting type."
You'd be surprised, sir. But I'm more interested in, say, possibly what your ears and eyes may have witnessed any times locally. I just kind of pick up a dagger and occasionally check it out, fiddle with it as I'm talking to him.
He kind of looks and he says, "Well, who's asking?"
Just somebody concerned about one of his fellow actors. Any chance you might have, I don't know, seen any kobolds around here lately? I just kind of take a gold piece out of my pouch and casually slide it to him.
He kind of looks around and he kind of hurriedly pockets the gold piece and he says, "Now, I don't know exactly what they were, but next door, a couple of nights ago, it sounded like there was some kind of fierce domestic dispute of some sort."
When
Now-
he's saying next door, is he gesturing anywhere specifically?
He is not gesturing anywhere specifically.
Alright. So when you say next door, you mean where exactly?
He goes on to explain that he lives at the end of the line of houses near the Fothrin Theater. So he lives, or not in the Fothrin Theater, in the Meteran Theater. So he lives in the Fothrin Arts District, basically.
Yeah.
He lives on the end of the row. So he actually lives in the house that, if you were looking at that map, just for real clear reference, I'll bounce back over to it again. So if this is where Gwendolyn lives, this is where this guy lives.
Alright. I'm like, a domestic disturbance? Really?
He says, yeah, I don't know much about it exactly because I didn't hear everything, but what I did hear was what sounded like a door being smashed in, a high-pitched screaming from a girl that got cut short really abruptly, a thud, and then a real quick skitter of feet away. That's all I heard.
Really?
And
Thanks.
nods his head.
That might be more useful than you think. Thank you. And nice weapons. I may come back here at some time. Could always use some extra weapons at the theater. So.
He says, well, keep in mind, I don't make props. I make authentic weapons that kill things.
You'd be surprised what you could use in the theater.
Alright, so we go on up to Pandora, where she's talking with a gentleman who seems to be selling nothing but rope. And he kind of greets her, saying, hey, how's it hanging? Get it? Hanging ropes.
I place my hands on the table and try to balance to actually look at him in the face because I'm kind of short, being a halfling and all.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask him, what exactly do you sell here? Because all I see is rope.
He says, yup, that's actually a rather large portion of what we sell. You'd be surprised how well our stock actually moves. We have all kinds too. We have silken, we have hempen, we have rope made of horsehair, and we also, in addition to that, we don't have it out on the counters, but we also have in our local shop not too far from here, components for which you can make a standard adventurer's kit. So over there, we don't like to bring out the things like the water skins and the sun rods and the pouches and the belts because it takes up so much room. A rope is what gets people talking.
Okay, do you have any specialty ropes, like ropes made from monster hair, such as kobolds?
He says, kobolds don't have hair, generally. If you can find a way to make a rope out of scales, that's pretty impressive.
Thank you for your time, but I already have like 30 ropes at home, and I don't think I can fit any more in the closet.
He kind of casts an odd look at you at that statement, and he says, oh, well, believe it or not, I'm kind of into stuff with ropes, too. He kind of like cocks an eyebrow.
I make rope ladders in my spare time, and I live in a halfling-sized house.
He's kind of crestfallen a little bit, and he goes, oh, alright. Well, thanks for not leaving me hanging. Have a good one.
I get away as fast as possible.
I'm laughing at Paul's reaction in the chat right now.
Yeah.
Rope seller, take me now. Okay. So you guys have all talked to the people that you wish to, unless Leifarl, you had anything else that you wanted to ask the magical merchant?
I didn't want to ask that anything since I didn't notice anything, but I did want to move over to the food bench. I think that's a food stall.
Yeah, that's more of your traditional farmers market fare. So there's all kinds of different edible goods over there. From what you can tell from a distance, you're not really able to tell until you get closer, but as you do, you're able to tell it's got like ears of corn and apples and potatoes and stuff like that. Things that look like they've been brought in from a farm.
I moved to this. I moved to this stall since I don't really feel like I need anything from the other stalls.
I can't
I've
hear
already
a
got
single
rope.
thing he's saying.
Sorry.
Yeah, what was that? I think
Sorry.
your mic was cutting out for a second there. Boco.
Sorry about that. I meant to say I briefly glanced at the other stalls.
Probably me. I was saying I can't hear a single thing Comet's saying. It's showing he's talking, but I'm not hearing him.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear him now?
Nope.
You can't hear me talk?
Comet, say something again really quick, and Aterif, listen to see if you hear him.
Can you hear me?
Nope, can't hear him. And his volume is at
Oh.
100%.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is.
That's
I
really
don't.
weird. Maybe if you do just a really fast disconnect, reconnect on here, and I can plug you back in.
Alright.
Alright, let's try that again.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So just a little bit of temperamentals there. It's okay, we're good. Alright, so you head over to the food vendor. That's
Yeah,
what you were saying.
Yeah, I don't want to get roped in by the rope seller. I already have rope. They've been known to hang with some kobolds and draconian people. I was wondering if you would recommend anything for gathering.
Well, unfortunately, I don't really have much meat because I come from a produce farm, and I know the butchers aren't going to be in town until tomorrow because we traditionally rotate off who has this stand. Have you ever thought of a nice salad for them instead?
That could work. Do you have anything? Sorry, quickly. Do you remember what was at the house in terms of food?
In terms of food, there really wasn't that much there. What you can remember was there were basically there were what appeared to be crumbs of bread and some other scraps of vegetables and stuff.
Okay, so there were vegetables.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of vegetables do you have?
She kind of goes and she lays it out. She has corn, she has potatoes, she has peppers, she has lettuces and cabbages. In one of the containers here, she has onions. In one of the containers, she appears as though she actually makes mention of a dressing of some sort.
Sorry, I might have misheard. Did you say pepper?
She did.
How much would like a cabbage, a pepper or two, and some onions cost?
She kind of does the math in her head really quick, and she says, probably a couple of gold.
Like, how much are we talking here?
Like, 2 gold.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to purchase 2 lettuce, 2 onions, 2 peppers.
Okay, do you need a burlap sack for that?
No, I have my backpack.
Okay. She kind of puts all the things together for you, and she puts them in a little basket so you can load them into your stuff. And she says, that'll be 2 gold, please.
Okay. Sorry, I bumped something. I the gold.
You what?
Sorry, I hand over the gold.
Oh, okay. So, she says, anything else I can help you out with today?
No, I think we're good. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. So, Endlt, do you choose to join these guys over in this kind of area of the market?
Yeah, except real quick, I want to walk across to this circular area and just kind of do a check and see if I see anything interesting.
Okay. If you want to, is there anything in particular that you're looking for in terms of, like, define interesting for me?
Well, she's selling magic trinkets and things of that nature.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of taking a look to see if there would be anything useful to me.
If you would like, you may make an Arcana check and see if there is. Anything useful? I mean, as you kind of look through, you don't necessarily see anything that is useful beyond what you have already. Like, you see a couple of different magical implements and holy symbols and stuff like that, but there's nothing really here overly fancy that is better than what you or your party members currently have in your inventory.
Okay, fair enough. I'll join them over there.
Alrighty. So, as you guys kind of reconverge, what is your present plan?
Well, I assume from our general pool of knowledge, we know that they're in this they have a chance of being from the swamps, both from the smell and just word about town about the kobolds. We have a map that I assume shows a swamp.
Yeah, we should check the map to make sure it shows the swamp.
Endlt.
Oh, I thought I gave somebody the map. Do I have it?
I gave you the map. I don't know what you did with it.
Yeah, let's take a look at
lose
the map.
already, did you?
Okay. So the map that you guys have kind of puts Fothran kind of near the middle of the map, basically. And to the west and east, there are plains and different cities and stuff out there, none of which you particularly recognize. Up towards the north is a small village by the name of Dela, and down kind of southwest of Fothran, there is kind of the large road that kind of passes through a lot of the minor and the major cities, known as the it's known as the Hurris Roads. You notice off to the side of the Hurris Roads, maybe about 6 hours of travel away from you guys, there is a gigantic kind of a dark patch in the middle of that area that appears to be some sort of a swamp, as it is actually called, the Bogmus Swamps on your map.
So there's the swamp, closest swamp that we can see, right, guys? So what do you say we go check that place out and see if we can find anything there?
Sounds good to me.
Do we know,
that's it.
like, locally anything about the swamp? Any sort of myths, legends, tales of horror?
If
warning?
you guys would like, you guys can give me some history checks about that.
Myth 1. Hey, not bad.
Okay, I see a 16. Does anybody else wish to make history rolls? A 16 as well. Oh, a 23.
There we go.
It's because somebody's trained. Aha.
And
Knowledge is
then
power.
That it is.
Pandora, a 13. Okay, so Pandora doesn't necessarily remember anything in particular. But you do remember, the rest of you, you do remember that there was, that there's an old myth. It's actually a relatively older one that is passed down from generation to generation. What it is that people who do too much investigating or snooping around in the swamps and the forests, they're taken away and they're made to spend the rest of their days under the effects of a powerful spell that basically makes the world pass them by, and they have nothing they can do to stop it. It was a tale that was often passed down from many generations as a way to discourage kids from going out in the swamp, because in the past, vicious, bloodthirsty monsters actually did occupy there, and there were a couple of deaths, maybe 10 years ago, where there were actually a couple of kids that were that went down there, didn't heed the advice of their elders, and were never seen again.
I don't suppose any of those tales involve lizard-like creatures.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
they
weren't
weren't.
particularly specific about what kind of monsters were down there. From what Endlt knows, he knows that the creatures were never made specific because a child's imagination would often come up with the scary stuff down there that would keep them away, if it deterred them at all.
Seems
Power of
reasonable.
imagination's a powerful weapon.
Imagination. Alright, well, what do you guys say we go check out this swamp down here, see if we can find anything?
Yeah, did anyone else want to purchase anything or check a shop they didn't go to before we leave?
Maybe we should go back once again to theater and let them know that, we're done for the day. Bye.
Okay, so you guys
Okay.
are heading back to the Matarin Theater?
Yeah, another quick stop back there.
Wonderful, I'll drop you guys off there.
I wanted
And-
to give the map guy a glare as I leave for no reason.
The map guy who's still unconscious.
Yeah.
Yes. Bad boys.
All right, so you guys head back to the theater, and Hana kind of looks at you guys and goes, "What are you guys doing here? You guys realize it's only 10 minutes before McCutcheon gets back here, and if he hears you guys are going anywhere, he'll have your heads."
Yeah, well, let's see how well his play does without his lead actress. He can stick it up his ass farther for all I care.
Should we let McCutcheon know what we think happened to her?
Sumayon kind of thinks it over and he says, "You know," and he kind of looks around at Hana and Zane, and he says, "It might not be the worst of ideas to maybe tell him what's going on. Perhaps we can actually get the day off of rehearsal, because he might maybe mobilize us in a search effort to see what we know."
Or he might just send us.
Sumayon kind of says, "That's also a possibility too. But at
we
the very
still get the day off
least,"
in a way. That's fine with me.
he says, "at the very least, I can focus on making scenery without him breathing down my neck. And I don't know about these guys, but Zane, if anybody, is the one who can win McCutcheon over." And then Hana kind of starts putting on a play. "And I'm too emotionally distraught to keep doing this today."
Oh, save it for the stage.
She kind of winks at you and she says, "Look, I'm trying to get the day off, okay? I've
Well,
kind of
then
got..."
save it for somebody who matters, not us.
She kind of sniffles, and kind of puts herself back together while kind of trying to keep it apart enough that she could come unglued at a moment's notice on McCutcheon.
Well done. You're almost believable.
So she kind of looks to you guys and she says, "Well, I mean, it's up to you guys. Do you all want to stay here and wait for McCutcheon to get back? 'Cause he's going to be back in about 10 minutes. Or do you want just one of you guys to stay here?"
Well, just in general, do we know him to be a rather prompt individual?
From your past experiences, McCutcheon's pretty dead on with his times. Like, when he says he'll be back in an hour, he's generally walking in the door at 59 minutes, and his ass is back in his director's bench at that hour mark.
Alright.
I think it'd be worth it to tell him just in case, because it may be difficult to navigate the swamp just on our own.
Well, he's the one that wanted us to get her, so we might as well wait and tell him.
Reasonable, so. Maybe we could spend the 10 minutes just talking with the other three, see if they know anything about the swamp or the way there.
Sure.
Maybe.
Go ahead, ask any of them if you have any questions. Remember, it's Zane, Hana, and Sumayon.
Alright, well. Do you guys know anything other than just the general legend of the swamp? Well, scary stories of the swamp, or just anything we might encounter on the way?
Zane kind of shakes his head and says, "No, I haven't lived here in Dela very long, so I don't know much about the legends of the swamp. What exactly did they entail?"
Just usual scary stuff. Keep kids away. Bad things happen. You'll be passed over by time. You know, just childish nonsense.
Hana kind of looks a little upset when you say, just kind of the general legends, so to speak.
Now see, that actually appears to be a genuine reaction. Care to share with the rest of the group?
She kind of looks up and she says, "You asked, one of my friends was somebody that was killed there 10 years ago.
Really?
Or at least they went missing. It's assumed they were killed."
So you don't know what exactly happened to her? To them?
No. Sarah went out with her sister Katie, and we begged them, "Don't go, you don't know what's out there." And she told us, "They're all just stories. I'll be back by nightfall." She never came back.
Interesting.
Is there any way to ask her maybe doing a diplomacy check if there's anything she's not telling us?
Sure. You can see if there's potentially something she's hiding.
Should I do a check?
Yeah, if you want to. Go ahead. Diplomacy's good.
Ooh.
Still not a nat 1, though.
Close, not quite. She kind of shakes her head and she says, "No, that's all I was ever told as a kid. The adults, they always said, oh, they were working on it. We're working on trying to find her. She'll be back soon." And then after 2 weeks, they stopped saying anything about it. So she genuinely does not know anything beyond what she's told you.
Okay.
Well, I'm sorry for my callousness. I did not know. My apologies.
She kind of looks up and kind of, wipes a tear. And, as she kind of does that, you kind of hear, coming from the back of the house, kind of just as McCutcheon kind of walks in the door. And he says, "You see, that is the kind of emotion I want on the stage." And she kind of just shoots this just look at him and kind of just says, "So you want us to pour our real selves onto the stage? Bring up chapters in our life that we wish we'd forgotten?"
Well, I've actually heard it's a pretty useful acting technique. It's kind of experimental, but it seems to work, so it couldn't hurt, I guess. I may need to try that next time.
She kind of looks at McCutcheon and basically just says, "Fine, but the next time you say I know nothing of passion, I'll tear your throat out with my teeth." And she kind of spins on her heel and she walks backstage.
She can put on a good performance when she needs to. How about that?
McCutcheon kind of looks to the four of you and says, "Well, where's my girl? Where's our star actress? I gave you an hour and you've brought me nothing."
We have something-ish. Endlt, care to share?
It appears by our evidence that she's been taken by kobolds to a nearby swamp. You asked us to get her. You gave us an hour. That's what we came up with. So would you like us to continue and try and search for her?
He kind of puts his hand in his chin pensively, and then he kind of looks up at the group of you and he says, "Why should I entrust such a dangerous and potentially fatal outcome to the lot of you? You're no common adventurers. You're going to have to convince me that you're up to the task."
Well,
I
from
have
what
a
you
bag
say,
of
we're not
50
the greatest
shurikens.
actors either, so not like you're losing a whole lot.
What did you say to him? You're kind of cut out a little bit there, Percival. I mean, Bart.
Oh, same difference. I said, well, it's not like we're the greatest actors ever, according to you, so it's not like you're losing a whole lot.
Would you rather us act sooner than later?
He says, "The show is in 3 days," and he kind of looks around and he says, "If you all disappear, the entire production will be in shambles. So if you go, you understand my trepidation. You don't come back, I have even more work to do."
Yes, but think of the press and just the mystery that could go around it. Just the play, all that. You could work something for your next show off of it, I'm sure.
The fans won't be happy if the lead actress just disappears without anyone knowing why.
He
And
kind
then-
of seats himself back a little bit and he says, "That's true, but I still don't see how you're up to the task."
Do you really think so little of us?
Who would you prefer to send instead?
He kind of looks around and he says, "Honestly, I don't know of anybody else, but I'm still not convinced that you're good enough. But, like any performance, some cast is better than no cast whatsoever."
Well, look at it this way. If we do live and come back, you'll have one hell of a story to write up.
You can, like, when you say that you'll have the story, like, you can see his eyes, like, turn into gold coins, like, instantly. Like, you can definitely, you don't even need to make a check to see the gears are spinning in his head and how he can twist this into one of his biggest financial opportunities yet.
But without your actress, I don't really think you'll have much without it, so your choice, but just saying. We're ready to go.
He stands up and he says, "Go bring her back and make sure you come back with her."
Alright, just make sure your quills don't dry as you're writing this all up.
Can I try a diplomacy check on him and ask him if there's any other assistance he can offer us?
Sure. Alright.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, let me ask you this. What were you intending to ask him for?
Supplies, additional people, or anything else that he thinks would be of use to us.
He says, "Now, where exactly do you think she's gone?"
The swamp?
The swamp. Now, that's an awful long ways away from here. Far too long for you guys to be taking on feet. Tell you what. Head back to Midtown, where the farmer's market is, and I want you to talk to Janice. Tell her that Elliot needs some rides. She'll know what to do.
Fair enough.
Before we leave, can we ask if McCutcheon knows anything about the swamp?
McCutcheon kind of just repeats back to you the legends of, what you guys already know. But you can kind of see him, like, not necessarily stumbling over his words, but you can see him, like, trying to think, how great would it be to adapt the legend like this to the stage? Like, you can just see he's just like, oh man, the opportunity to make tons of money off of local folklore, like, the greed in his eyes is palpable.
I just have a slight grin on my face as I notice he does that. It's like, yeah, I knew he'd go for it.
I sort of roll my eyes, saying that we're not going to get much more. I tell the other guys we're not going to get much more out of him unless we want some more scripts. So I think we should get going.
Alright.
Agreed.
Alrighty, so what do you guys choose to do at this point?
Well, I think we have a ride waiting.
Yeah, we should be going to meet at the farmer's market.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan to me.
So you guys head back to the farmer's market?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. So you guys head back to Midtown Fothran, and you guys are hanging out there. And he said you need to look for the person by the name of Janice.
Please be the rope seller, even though it's a guy.
I can't remember which one was Janice now.
None of you guys ask names around.
True. Is there any way to know just colloquially who's Janice? Since this is
I
our
don't think
first
they
time.
wear name tags.
The only person
Well, we
that
could have interacted with them in the past.
the only person that you personally know of, name-wise, is Marv. Marv is the map maker. Although, wait a minute, somebody rolled a streetwise check when they were here, weren't they?
That was me.
Okay, so you actually know the weaponsmith's name as well. It's not Janice though. It's Tyler.
All right.
So you basically know it's not these two, but that's about all you know.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go over to. Do I want fanboy or do I want serious? I'll go serious. I'll walk over to Tyler and ask him. It's like, hey, I'm looking for Janice. Do you happen to know where I could find her?
He says, Janice? Well, I'm pretty sure he'd be disappointed if you thought he was a she.
It's going to be the damned rope maker.
I'm not sitting.
Sure looks like it.
Oh, please let it be.
That's fine, you can stay back.
So he kind of motions with his left hand, just kind of jabbing a thumb over in the direction of this gentleman right here.
Yes! Yes!
If he's coming with us, I'm keeping my bag of shurikens ready.
Alright. I walk back over. I'm just like, alright, apparently that's Janice. And I point over to our good old friend the rope seller. So,
I'll go over
anybody
there.
in particular
I'll
want-
go over there and talk to him.
I'll go with you.
Aw. I just stay back and watch the show.
Okay, so the two of you guys walk over to Janice. What do you say?
Hello, sir. It appears that. Wait, what did he tell me to say again?
Elliot needs a ride?
Elliot needs a ride, yeah.
Oh, yes, Elliot. You know, I regret the day that I ever told that man I would do a favor with no strings attached.
Oh, God.
He says, so how many of you are there?
There will be 4 of us.
But one's a halfling. Remember, one's a halfling.
3.5.
He kind of looks... I don't know what I could do with a half horse. I mean, I don't exactly have half horses because you can't really tie them together. I'm afraid not.
Oh. I'm the only one that got that one?
Sorry, I was reading.
He kind of looks and he says, okay, so 3 horses, and he kind of points over to the short to Pandora, and he says, and something suitable for her. Nay?
Oh.
God damn it.
That would be wonderful, thank you.
He says, I will arrange what I can. And he kind of turns around and he kind of takes off for a few minutes. And at this point, you kind of hear as Marv slowly makes his way back to his feet. So I don't know if you guys choose to do anything or if you guys choose to wait or anything of that sort.
Hey Marv, that map of yours is excellent. I mean, it was so helpful. I appreciate it greatly. Thanks, man. I stick my hand out to shake his hand.
He kind of reaches out to shake your hand, and in the process, kind of regains his stability on his feet. So a couple of minutes pass, and you see Janice return, and he says, "Okay, I've got 3 horses and a pony. Free of charge."
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Much obliged.
He says, all right, now, next time you see McCutcheon, you need to tell him that the next time he tries to rope me in for any assistance, nope.
Will do.
All right, so he then kind of leads you off to the
Wait.
side. Oh, go ahead.
We'll let him know he's at the end of his rope.
Oh.
He kind of...
And believe it or
kind of-
not, we do appreciate his services.
He kind of looks over at the end of the rope joke, and he says, now that's funny. And he reaches his hand up, kind of like going for a high five.
I give him a high five.
He kind of then nods his head, and he turns around and he says, this way. Don't leave me hanging now.
Oh, that's like
And-
the 3rd or 4th time you've used that one. It's not as funny anymore.
Maybe a part of his colloquial vocabulary. But as he leads you guys to the horses, it's time to actually take a break because we are at the top of the hour. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back in about 3 minutes or so to continue on the journey that is indeed the Troubadours. So stay tuned, guys. We'll be back shortly.